Okay, finally, time for another live stream. I am highly motivated to do it. More or less, at least. So we're going to talk some General Kevin J. Anderson, which I think I've done before on here. I'm mostly famous for shitting on Troy Denning, but Kevin... What is there to say about Kevin?
Is it worth clarifying first that he's probably quite a nice guy in real life, as far as we know?
From everything we've heard about him behind the scenes and other people, Kevin J. Anderson is a very nice and lovely person.
Lots of special thanks in Anne Crispin's novels, other people's novels. Tom Veitch, was good friend of his.
Tom Veitch also shit-talked him and his Tales of the Jedi work at some point, but that's fine.
But a nice guy, that being said.
A nice guy and has done some good. Let's not act like he's only done bad.
Well, what was his...
We want to be fair first with the good points.
His job before becoming a novelist was a rocket scientist, wasn't it?
Let me actually look this up again, because
wasn't he in charge?
It has become a little bit of a meme that he was in charge of the USA's nuclear arsenal. Yep. The fate of the world was in Kevin's hands at one point.
I'll ask ChatGPT what Kevin J. Anderson's job was. Kevin J. Anderson's job before becoming a writer. He worked as a technical writer and editor for U.S. Department of Energy's Lawrence National Library in California. Oh, so he may not have been a rocket scientist.
But close.
He may have just been a technical writer and editor for the U.S. Department of Energy.
There are so many jokes that could be made about that, knowing Kevin's qualities and stuff, but
So he could have done good stuff in his job before he became a writer. I'm open to that possibility.
So yeah, let's actually see, where was it? Kevin J. Anderson, his bibliography is so gigantic, it has its own separate Wikipedia article. But I like what it says here. Anderson has published over 120 books, over 50 of which have been on the US and international bestseller lists. And he has more than 23 million books in print worldwide. Oh boy.
Just jaw-dropping, isn't it?
It sure is.
You think how many books has Matthew Stover published? He's published 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So for every novel Matthew Stover has published, Kevin J. Anderson has published 10. That is an epic writer.
There's something there about quantity and quality.
Yes.
Okay, let me take a look at this. I haven't looked at this before. The following is a list of works by science fiction author Kevin J. Anderson. At the top, it lists standalone titles, which I'm guessing that's original stuff from him. And then below that is a bunch of franchise work. It begins with...
you want to share can you share your screen?
Oh, sure. That's a good idea.
So that Blue Pig can see.
Oh, Blue Pig is here.
That's a very long scroll wheel on the side.
A Blue Pig. This is not a word. Well, it is, but it's not correct. It's scheiße, but I will excuse it because you English speakers have a disability with EI and IE. That's not, it's not interchangeable. Okay. Let's take a look.
So had he only written a few novels before he wrote Jedi Academy trilogy?
I would like to know, but these are just listed by series essentially
alright.
and not publication date, which is stupid. Don't do that. Publication order always. Yes, it's with a sharp S, as we call it, but you still IE and EI. There's a difference. It's Frankenstein, not Frankenstein. That type of difference. Okay, where did he start? What is his first book year-wise? The oldest I've seen so far is 1988. Oh god, he's even using pseudonyms.
So he wrote short fiction in 1985 and 1986. If you scroll down to the bottom, that's where.
Oh yeah, but that's short fiction.
Yeah, but apart from that, his earliest publication seems to be 1988.
Okay, so that standalone novel at the top seems to be Resurrection Inc. That's his first novel, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And then he's got the Game Earth trilogy that was published in 1989 and 1990. That's under other series.
Yeah, I see it. So he has original works. This is a great pseudonym, K.J. Anderson. Oh my god, he wrote the novelization for The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the movie that made Sean Connery quit acting.
How about the pseudonym Kem Antilles, though?
What? No. No. What? No, don't. Oh my god. And he wrote that with his wife.
Yeah.
Was she credited? Because that's a pretty big giveaway who Cam Antilles is.
I assume she was credited, given that it says with blah blah blah.
Oh, Jimpad has trouble coming in here. That's great. Okay, Cam Antilles. That's just embarrassing. Gabriel Mester is not much better. Collaborations. So yeah, he's also wow. Okay, yeah, he's working with a bunch of other authors. He even worked with Brian Herbert on a non-Dune trilogy.
Because they had so much time and money.
And fun. Right? They have fun. Oh, there's Jimpad.
Hello, what's up?
Hello.
You haven't missed much. We are just looking through the works of Kevin J. Anderson in general now.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yep. Here are two books we have to read at some point, because he wrote The Last Days of Krypton and Enemies and Allies. The Dark Knight meets The Man of Steel.
I am more shocked that there are DC Comics novels more than anything else.
Yeah.
Just shows the breadth of Kevin's works.
Yeah, I see.
Also known as Cam Antilles.
AKA Cam Antilles.
Oh, okay.
Imagine using a pseudonym with like a fantasy character's name. It's okay if it's like a character with like a real name, but it's like someone calling himself I don't know, David Skywalker. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't know. I mean,
But yeah,
I
we
would
scroll up a
forgive it
bit.
if you could write good books.
Okay, so this is apparently something that's apparently his most famous work. And I'm saying that because Matt Wilkins talks a lot about this. So it's
I
probably not.
I imagine it. You mean original work?
Yeah, he has, surprisingly, Kevin J. Anderson has written some original books.
It's amazing he found time to do that in between writing Star Wars and writing Dune. That he has written a 7-book original series.
Is
The
it
Saga of
impressive?
Seven
I think.
Sons.
I think
From what I've heard, this may just be like unused or like rejected Star Wars ideas. So I don't know. Saga of Seven Sons is a series of 7 space opera novels by Kevin J. Anderson, published between 2002 and 2008. The books are set in a not too distant future where humans have colonized a number of other planets across the galaxy, thanks in part to technological advantage, I'm gonna guess. But yeah, that's. But yeah, we scroll up a bit. Oh, his Dune short stories.
Yeah.
This one I have read, A Whisper of Caladan Seas. That is his first Dune work and what got him the job working with Brian.
Is it good or?
You're really asking this. It's incredibly pretentious and stupid. It's a bunch of people. It's a bunch of like soldiers. I think it takes place during the original Dune, and it's a bunch of soldiers. They are trapped in some place and they are very thirsty because there's no water because they are on the fucking they are on Dune, you know. So they tell this story about Caladan because that's like an ocean water world. That's basically it. And then they die, and there's the twist. They all die. Their bodies are found later, and they all have drowned, and their bodies and mouths are filled with water for some reason. And it doesn't make any sense, but it's supposed to be profound and deep.
I don't see the point.
Yeah,
What's the?
dude, it's so deep. You don't see the point now because it's a thinker. You really have to use your brain for that one.
I am trying.
This is why Kevin got the job to write full novels, thanks to this short story.
To be fair, I don't think that his at least the 2 sequels, they're not pretentious. They're just stupid.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
they're not trying. Neither Kevin nor Brian. They're not trying to be smart, or even certainly not smarter than Frank. But they're not even trying to make these like adult novels in any way.
Yeah, should I just scroll up because I posted some screenshots from their foreword for the Dune sequels, which we can talk about unless Douglas wants to talk a bit about Kevin's Star Wars work first, which I think we should because it's setting the scene.
Yeah.
Here we have it, by the way.
I should really retell the story of my daughter.
Yes.
That is why Kevin holds a particular place in my heart. So obviously, I read stories to my daughter when she was younger. When she was 7. I started reading Star Wars to her, which she loved. We started with Jedi Apprentice. We read all, I think, 20 of those novels. We read all 10 Jedi Quest novels. Last of the Jedi. So we read the entire Jude Watson verse. We moved on to the Young Boba Fett series. We read the Alex Wheeler Rebel what's that
Rebel
one called?
Force.
Rebel Force, thank you. And she loved all of them. She absolutely loved all of them. We even read the Jedi Prince series, and it was so bad it was good. It was enjoyable. And then we read Junior Jedi Knights, and she loved Tahiri so much she wanted to go dressed as Tahiri for World Book Day. You know, she is absolutely fully engaged in Star Wars, a big Star Wars fan. We got onto Young Jedi Knights, and we got onto the third book, and she was like, "Dad, no, I'm done.
Oh,
You don't have to read me stories anymore. This is just too boring."
Oh,
So much.
yeah, it's heartbreaking.
So all that hard work building up a Star Wars fan was shattered by Young Jedi Knights, which we made. We didn't even make 3 books in before she checked out and went from being super enthusiastic to Heroes World Book Day to completely disengaged from Star Wars whatsoever.
and you
And,
still haven't finished Young Jedi Knights to this day.
and I still haven't, because I'd only read the first 6, and I was looking forward to reading the rest when we got there. But we didn't get there, and I still haven't read them. I think the problem with those books, and this is the problem with Kevin J. Anderson in general, is that they just fucking meander. Like, you look at something like a Jude Watson book, and it's something like 140 pages, and it is just perfectly paced. You know, after the first chapter, you've got the story set up, and it moves at a breakneck speed. But with Kevin J. Anderson's books, I remember rereading Heirs of the Force, which is the first book in the series, and the premise of it is they meet a crashed TIE fighter pilot in the Yavin 4 jungle, and the book is about 200 pages, and I don't think they even meet the TIE pilot until 100 pages in.
Yep.
The first 100 pages is just plodding, meandering stuff that has nothing to do with the main plot. And when you're reading it out loud to your daughter, it's so dull. It's so dull. You want something to happen, but it's just slices of life, chapter after chapter, and it's just absolutely just disengaging.
And
So I completely
especially,
understand why my daughter disengaged from the whole thing.
yeah, I would say it's especially bad when the books are targeted for young readers
Yes.
who, kids aren't known to have the best, attention spans. So when you
Yeah.
waste 100 pages doing nothing, it's guaranteed failure.
Yeah. It's like there's nothing. She had
And it's
nothing
even
to
worse
remember
nowadays.
for the next day. You know, there's no because the plot hasn't progressed in an evening. It's
Yeah,
just wasted, and she won't remember it the next day because nothing happened of note.
yeah.
Oh boy, this will be a point when we get to the Dune books. But
Oh my God. Yeah. Especially with the one that you read, Noah,
yes, I
Hunters.
know. I know.
I would say this should have happened after you read Sandworms, because I've read both of those books, and
Yeah.
Hunters and Sandworms. I don't have anything to say for Hunters because I don't remember anything.
Yep. But I just made it. Yes, so disclaimer. I only read Hunters of Dune, which is book 1 of Dune 7, I guess. It's essentially just set up for the main story, which is going to happen in Sandworms of Dune, which I haven't read yet.
680 pages of setup, mind you.
Yes, we will get to it. Let's make this a big Kevin stream so we can talk about Star Wars, because that's what most people watch
Yeah,
this
yeah. Sorry.
stupid channel for anyway. So yeah,
I mean-
Young Jedi Knights. It's also funny to look at this ending in 1998, and then he started. How do I say this without being rude?
You might have to be
When he
rude.
started raping Frank Herbert's corpse.
Yeah.
See, I think you're stealing my line.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean, that is a famous line on the internet
Yes.
Yeah.
by Dune fans.
It's from
to
Penny
describe
Arcade.
to describe the Duniverse, as it's called, which I despise.
Yeah, no, it's especially bad with Dune, and I'm bringing it back to Dune, which I shouldn't, but at least Star Wars was never supposed to be very serious, It
Yeah,
didn't tackle.
it's straight up pulp. It's
Yeah.
really nothing more than entertainment.
There are
And
some books that are really
that try
good.
to be more. Yeah, like sure, but with Dune, it was an idea by a man who was intelligent and
Yeah.
had things to say, and he made you think. And I'm not even saying like the Dune series by Herbert is like the greatest or deepest thing ever, or
No,
a
but
philosophical masterpiece or something like that. But it
It's
was
got something
interesting
going on.
because yeah,
yeah,
it has stuff going on, and you think about it even after you finish the book, and you think while reading the book, because the Dune books are not just something you can breeze through,
No, they're
like
not.
with Star Wars, because there is barely substance.
they're not just an average sort of sci-fi or you know fantasy novels. They're a bit more. They
Yeah,
don't have that much action,
yeah, and
which
then we
is
get to
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
uh,
Until Kevin.
but let's until Kevin. So looking at this, I think with when we start talking about Kevin and his style, I think the best example would be the Jedi Academy trilogy, because oh boy, his most famous Star Wars work, I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I guess first, before we get to that, because that's a bigger point. Comics, they are fine. He's an okay comic writer, which also has to
Um,
do with the fact that all of these comics had a co-writer,
Yeah.
or in the case of
they
like,
are they're okay. They're not great.
yeah. I mean, okay. To be fair, personally, I dislike Golden Age of the Sith and Fall of the Sith Empire. Not the worst, but uh, yeah,
You like
wasn't a fan of the main
Redemption?
characters and stuff. Redemption is pretty great. I will
Redemption
maintain
is
that is the best thing he wrote.
it's the
Again,
last
but
it's
again
the
with a
last
co.
Redemption is the
Hmm?
Last Jedi, but done well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
basically.
guess.
Let's see.
Was
But
he
yeah, I would
was
also
he
say
involved
this is
with?
a good example. This is a good example of what Kevin actually does good.
Mm.
It's working with others and coordinating stuff in a way, because those Tales books, this Tales of trilogy, you know, that is the best thing he has contributed to Star Wars, right?
Yeah, those are unique. No one's done interweaving stories in Star Wars the way that those Tales books managed.
Mhm.
It's a shame that I haven't read those. I do have to do it eventually.
You should, because surprisingly, they contain Kevin's best, like, not comic work. At least Tales from Mos Eisley and Tales from Jabba's Palace, because Tales of the Bounty Hunters famously has the
IG-88,
IG-88 story.
the
Okay, okay.
IG-88 virus in your Death Star.
Yeah, that is when Kevin went full Kevin.
Which stories did he write in Mos Eisley and Jabba's Palace? Do you
Mos
remember?
Eisley, he wrote the story of a Java, which was fun. That was actually a decent story. Tales
Mhm.
from Jabba's Palace, he wrote the Rancor Keeper's Tale.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah, so two decent stories. They are not over the top, stupid or
But
Kevin-esque.
getting all of the stories in all of those books to interweave in with one another coherently and in such a complementary way obviously takes some ability.
Mhm.
Like he's clearly very capable. When if he was the person who slotted all those stories together, he did it very capably.
Yeah,
And the illustrated Star Wars universe is also very good.
yeah. I mean, sure, but on the other hand, this is the reason we have the Kidix. So
Yeah,
it's one of the worst things ever, in my opinion.
I think if the Killiks didn't exist, then it would have been upon Troy to invent them, because the man was going to bring bugs in some way or another.
Probably
See,
true.
I didn't know that Kevin created the Killix. I wasn't
Mm.
aware of that.
Yeah, he invented them. He gave them the backstory of being from Alderaan, and Troy Denning was so inspired by that because, oh my god, it's bugs, that we got darkness out of it.
Troy Denning's bug dominant worldview.
Yeah, not allegedly, that's confirmed, but Um,
Yes, in the words.
now coming to Kevin's most famous work, which is the Jedi Academy trilogy, which showcases all of his problems as a writer. I mean, Douglas, you have another great story about this one as well, right? And
The,
how it was my fault.
well, you encouraged me to reread the Jedi Academy trilogy because I hadn't read it in probably since the mid to late 90s. So I read it again, and it gave me depression and insomnia.
Yep. Did it
Oh,
also worsen your alcoholism?
And it worsened my alcoholism. Yeah, I was in a dark place, and Jedi Academy trilogy took it to that much darker place in my life.
And the fun thing is, I don't even remember recommending this to you. I think it was because you were kind of I think you were kind of defending it as I don't remember it being that bad. And I wasn't like urging you. I was just telling you, dude, read it again and see how bad it is. And you actually did it. So I would still say this is your fault.
and I did get through the whole thing
Hmm.
because I had nothing else to do but read until the sun came up. But it was I have pretty dark memories of Jedi Academy trilogy now.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say we all hate this trilogy.
yes. This trilogy, I don't think it came close to killing my interest of Star Wars, but definitely was the first dent because I hadn't read that many Star Wars books at the time. I think I had read Thrawn trilogy and the X-wing books.
Mhm.
And those are all
So
pretty
you were
good books.
riding high, like you just read good stuff.
Yeah. So these were all pretty good books, and then I got to the Jedi Academy trilogy, and Jedi Search was, not good, but it wasn't egregiously bad.
Mhm.
And then I got to Dark Apprentice. I remember I was trying to read it, and I was like, something is wrong, like something's not going well with this. And I just forced myself to read Dark Apprentice and Champions of the Force, and I didn't remember anything because I was just almost sleeping and reading the pages. I
Yeah,
wasn't really paying attention to anything.
yeah.
I remember
This
I had to reread the last passage of spoiler Exar Kun being destroyed, and I just missed it. I had to go back and reread the chapter.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't have that many memories of it because I checked out about halfway through Dark Apprentice.
Bear in mind, this is a book that would have sold really, really well. Like it was on the best. These books were on the New York Times bestseller lists for about 6 months.
Yeah, I can believe it because there are
those
people that like them. I think there are some. I think
um
they have aged badly. I think back in the
uh,
90s, they were probably more loved. I can see a 12, 13-year-old enjoying those books. I think.
I mean,
I read them
yeah.
when I was 12 or
That is
13.
that is the writing level of those books.
Yeah,
And even
yeah.
that is a bit of an insult, I think.
I remember reading them when I was 16, and I could really see how these books weren't on the level of, the Thrawn trilogy and the X-Wing books.
Yeah,
And I
because this
wouldn't say that
trilogy
all of those books are that great. They're really good for Star Wars books, but you
Mhm.
know,
they are written by competent sci-fi authors. That's the thing.
yeah,
And they feel they are not like masterpieces of literature or anything, but they are well written. They feel like they respect the reader's intelligence to some degree.
yeah,
Jedi Search, it's the perfect novel for Americans because it's on the reading level of a 10-year-old. I've used this description before. The Jedi Academy trilogy feels like the first draft of a fan fiction uh, written by a 12-year-old with ADHD. Because these books are so badly structured, so shallow, so simply. The way they are written with such simplicity is, if you have read actual books before and you read this, you would think this is written for children. And
Yeah,
it being marketed to adults is insulting in a way.
So
I guess. Yeah.
the Jedi Academy trilogy was reviewed on the Force.net literature forums reviews, and the first book averaged a 6.6, the second book averaged 6.6, and the third book averaged a 6.3. And bear in mind that the average score for Star Wars books on that forum is 7.5. It's fair to say that it was never particularly well received.
Okay, fair enough.
They
I
were
didn't know that.
well, I didn't know till I looked it up, and that was just before they gave Crystal Star 3.0 though.
Which is insulting. Crystal Star is not that bad. I would die
No,
on this hill.
it's better
Yes.
than Jedi Academy trilogy.
Yes.
It's a book that I enjoyed reading. It was an enjoyable read, in my opinion,
Yeah.
at least.
It actually had better character work for like the Solo twins, for example, which is nuts.
Some would say some of the best character work that these
Yeah.
characters have ever had.
Best portrayal of Jaina Solo.
Probably. That
But
might
yeah.
be that might go to Greg Keyes.
Mm. Mm. But yeah, then we also had so a full review of the Jedi Academy trilogy, which I think I did at some point. But I mean, in short, it's shit. It shows everything wrong with Kevin as a writer. It fails in pretty much every regard: pacing, story structure,
Terrible
tone,
antagonist.
terrible antagonists. Well, there are like half a dozen of them.
Yeah.
And
I
again,
remember
it's
too.
it's
They're
just
all
so bad.
But also,
I
it
mean,
has some of the worst lore in the whole of Star Wars, because you have the stupidity of placing a Jedi Academy on Yavin 4, completely isolated and completely vulnerable to attack from anyone, and not to mention that he doesn't, when they find out there's a Dark Lord of the Sith occupying the temples, the first thing he does isn't relocate the entire academy
Yeah.
somewhere else. It's
Or-
beware the dark side.
It's
Beware
not
the dark
realistic.
side.
It's it's not.
Or the fact that there is the Maw installation, which has created the Death Star and is working on other super weapons, and the flimsy excuse why this was never used by Thrawn or the Reborn Emperor, because apparently only Tarkin knew about it.
That's not even a worse thing. Like, I don't think that's that bad.
That is bad, because
It
that is
is,
such
but
it is such a non-excuse. Like, it doesn't matter. I've talked about this before. Why this sucks so bad.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I'm just saying that you have characters that are supposed to be at least moderately intelligent. I don't think Luke Skywalker is ever portrayed as a particularly smart character most of the
Yeah.
time.
Oh, and
But
Leia is the worst in
reaches-
Jedi Search
yeah.
specifically.
But in the Jedi Academy trilogy, he really reaches some low levels of just
Beware the dark side.
yeah, and it becomes so much worse when you read I Jedi, and then you have an actual competent author trying to sort of
Unfuck the
make
mess.
sense of the plot, because
Yep.
you really can't reconcile an intelligent adult person not getting the fuck out of that temple the moment they realize that there's a dark ghost going around
Especially when
I
he's
would-
got 12 vulnerable
exploding
apprentices.
people.
I would also like, just since we're talking about Exar Kun as if he was the main villain, he's not. He shows up halfway through Dark Apprentice and dies halfway through Champions of the Force. Again, talking about how great this trilogy is structured.
Yeah, and it feels like there wasn't a plot outline. Like
Yes, it
like
feels like
Kevin
it's
was.
again. This is why I say this feels like the first draft of a fan fiction written by a 12-year-old with ADHD. It jumps from one plot to another. There is no overarching narrative really going on. I've seen people say something similar about the Thrawn trilogy, which is nonsense. All plot lines eventually connect or serve a purpose. The Jedi Academy trilogy is a fucking mess of nonsense that doesn't matter. There is a 30-page long chapter about the Solo twins getting lost in the Coruscant underworld and getting rescued by the Garbage King.
Yeah.
And it doesn't connect to fucking anything. And it doesn't do anything for the characters either. It's complete bullshit. It's just there to stretch it into a trilogy.
And the blood
Because
races.
I don't know if this is factual. Take this with a grain of salt, but I'm assuming this was supposed to be one book, like the Jedi Academy or something. And then Bantam was like, it's Star Wars. It has to be trilogies, you know, like they wanted Courtship of Princess Leia to be a trilogy in the early
Oh,
stages. So this wouldn't surprise me.
I think it was always meant to be a trilogy because I remember the story I've heard is that they were originally going to kill off Darla in the first book, but she tested really well among the test readers.
how?
So he kept her
First
around.
off, I want to know who those test readers were, because fuck them.
This
They
is
were a product of the 90s.
yeah. It's strange because I don't know. Kevin tries to make it's interesting. I think he tries to create a sort of competent female villain, and in that attempt, he creates like the least competent,
See,
most
that's another that's something I hear
nonsensical
from like
female villain.
from defenders of the Jedi Academy trilogy. I hear that as a defense that Darla was supposed to be like an inverse of Thrawn, where like Thrawn is the very competent Imperial. She's supposed to be incompetent, and it's like,
No,
okay,
No,
making
it's
your
not
main
very much
villain
that.
incompetent on purpose
No,
is
no.
stupid.
You can do that. You can do that, but or I think someone could, but I would argue that was not Kevin's plan because in Darksaber, Dala is seen as some sort of military genius. So it's clear that it wasn't Kevin's intention to have her be a
I think again, this ties into
humble
Darksaber.
idiot.
I think Darksaber is a very clear response from Kevin to Jedi Academy trilogy getting a lot of shit with like Darla specifically being retarded. So he's like, oh, now I'm going to portray her as like intelligence and stuff and
But
capable.
he ends up making her. I don't think he fixes her in Darksaber.
Yeah, he doesn't obviously, but I think there was an attempt to do something where Darksaber was essentially written as a response to the criticism.
There's a scene in Dark Apprentice where they've just come out of the moor and they capture a Corellian corvette and eventually destroy it after sending it on its way. And the captain that Darla's with is like, oh my god, she's the genius. So they're clearly trying to portray her. They clearly weren't trying to portray her as incompetent. She was definitely meant to be incompetent.
But it's so weird because the books also feel like they make a point that Darla only got her rank and position because she was fucking Tarkin.
No, I think they're doing it. I don't know exactly. I don't understand Kevin.
Is Kevin doing this as like a deflection, where he's like, it's Schrödinger's Darla?
I think he was just throwing a lot of ideas around. He was just trying to create a
honestly,
character, but he wasn't really thinking. He wanted to make her Tarkin's girlfriend for whatever reason, so he did. And then he wanted to play the sort of
But he,
women are not welcome in the military, so he did it.
yeah,
This also fits with him trying to make like his own version of Thrawn, where it's like Thrawn is special because he's an alien, and it's like, oh, Darla is special because she's a woman
yeah, because she's overcome that adversity.
by
'Cause there-
fucking her superior.
Well,
Unlike Thrawn, as far as we know.
there's a scene in Darksaber, I think, where she explains that Tarkin punished one of the officers that suggested that she got where she was by sleeping with Tarkin, and he packs him into a spacesuit and basically makes him orbit a moon until he crashes and dies. And that scene very much seems to imply that the reason that she became an admiral was because she was competent rather than because she was actually genuinely just connected to Tarkin. So I think she's meant to be the competent officer. She's not meant to have slept her way to the top.
And because this obviously doesn't work with what is written in Jedi Academy, because Kevin is a terrible writer, this was famous. This is one of the two best retcons we ever had in the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Darla is supposed to be a military genius. The writing is so bad that the complete opposite is the fact. So to explain this, they retconned in the novel Death Star by Michael Reeves and Steve Perry, highly recommend, that Darla was competent,
Yeah.
and then she got brain damage during a space battle. And that's the reason she is how she is in her later appearances.
Yes, I think that's the best retcon in the entire expanded universe. Because it's so
honestly, it is number one.
Subtle, it's so subtle you could miss it if you're not looking for it.
Yeah.
My number two retcon would be the bounty hunter Zuckuss. His portrayal in his short story from Tales of the Bounty Hunters being so different from the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy that he was retconned to have schizophrenia. I like that one because that is so like the way characters are portrayed can obviously like differ and vary among the books because they are different authors writing character like Luke Skywalker even. Compare that between like a Hambly book and a Zahn novel or whatever. But then for this one, it was apparently so bad they had to explain he was a schizo.
Well, they were so backed into a corner. They're like, what can we possibly say? And all they could say was he had schizophrenia,
which is amazing. Was that an Abelgepedia retcon? Because he would have brought in Zeta Magnus in some way.
Is it not in the third Bounty Hunter Wars book?
I don't think so. I don't remember any mention of schizophrenia.
No, they just sort of ignore it. Yeah, that would make sense if it's an Abelpedia retcon because it's one of those things where you could just ignore it and not give it any attention, and it's just fine. But someone who can't accept that lying down would just go in and make a completely unnecessary retcon anyway.
Yeah. This is the type of topics I wish those fucking Star Wars YouTubers would actually cover. Like the funniest, dumbest EU retcons. There's a bunch to choose from. Third one is obviously the Chronal gang rape thing.
So many good ones.
Yeah. And all of which, I'm pretty sure actually all of which are from Abelgepedia.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for Jedi Academy, right? So Kevin wrote these 4 novels, these couple of comics, and actual good work with the anthologies, and then this YA series. And then he finished off his Star Wars run with Bane of the Sith, the first Darth Bane story. That was later adapted into the novel Rule of Two, which is also not very good.
Yeah, I think I've read that short story. It's not the worst, Kevin.
I mean, I think we've established he's okay. sometimes when he writes short stories, but it's like full novels. That's a problem. But that was basically it, because 1999, the year of the Phantom Menace, Kevin switched from Star Wars franchise slop to turning a famous science fiction saga into franchise slop. So, oh my god. Okay, disclaimer. I have read the original 6 Frank Herbert books and Hunters of Dune, which is part 1 of 2. Jimpet was stupid enough to read both of them. So he has the most clear vision of Kevin's involvement here. And Douglas hasn't even finished the Frank Herbert series.
Unfortunately.
I'm 3.5 books in.
Yeah, you're still in God Emperor, which
You
you should
should
really
finish.
finish.
I will get around to it. It's on my list. I'm getting closer to being in the right frame of mind to enjoy
No,
some
right,
of the
right.
Star Wars.
But then,
Incidentally, the Zuckus retcon wasn't Abel G. Pena. It was from the Essential Guide to Alien Species by Anne Margaret Lewis.
wow, that is insane. A retcon that wasn't Abel Chipenia.
So I think we should just clarify that this time around it wasn't Abel, but
Okay.
it normally is.
Ah well, he's still in the top 3 with the gang rape, so that's something.
And he'll be happy with that.
Do any of the Zeta Magnus retcons go into the top 3? Can anything top that?
I don't know.
Maybe the fact that he resurrected Darth Maul before TCW resurrected Darth Maul.
I think you have a better understanding of the Zeta Magnus retcons than I do, because I never read your chronology that said that Zeta Magnus is behind it all.
You did read my chronology. You read the first 3 volumes. You saw all those mentions. He was everywhere.
Okay.
But yeah, let's switch from Star Wars trash to Dune trash. Oh boy. So I think the story went the following. Was it a contest or something? Brian Herbert hadn't done anything with his father's work for like a decade, or at least a couple of years after his death. But then I think Kevin wrote him, if you know, hey, more Dune books, I would be up for it. So Kevin wrote as his first thing ever this Dune short story, which I talked about earlier, which sucks. And apparently Brian Herbert was so impressed they started working together. And at some point, they discovered this magical box full of Frank Herbert notes that totally exists. And it was outlines for Dune 7, which he couldn't write because he died. And probably also notes for all of these books you see here. This is all Frank's vision, really. Jimpet, would you like to delve deeper into Frank Herbert's notes?
His notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we all have seen them. Like, they are publicly available because, you know, Frank Herbert is a big name and all his behind-the-scenes stuff and such has been released, right?
Yeah.
As you would assume.
Yeah, my understanding of these totally real, you know, existing in
Golden
this earth notes. I mean, I don't even understand how it went, because I think the story has changed a couple of times.
Yep.
I don't remember the timeline, but I think at first Brian claims that he found them somewhere in some attic or something. And what was it? I think Noah, probably you remember better than me, but
I mean, I can look up the official story.
yeah,
I guess.
I think at first it was something like a rough. He said that there was some sort of rough outline.
Yes, so there's differences. I can read this. There's a foreword for Sandworms of Dune,
Yeah,
which has
go
the
for it.
subtitle based on an outline by Frank Herbert. I can talk about that, but first let me see. So I'm on the Dune wiki. I'm hoping this is no. Oh, it has a picture of the discs. It's okay.
I'm
Let me
sure.
read. Let me read this. A picture. Okay.
Who can doubt them now?
So Frank Herbert died in 1986. He did not often work with an outline. Okay, I'm just going to read this. Herbert did not often work with an outline, and Kevin J. Anderson believed he used these outlines when he sold the trilogy of Heretics, Chapter House, and Dune 7 to Berkeley Books. November 1985, Herbert started work on Dune 7. He reread Heretics and Chapter House and marked elements that he wanted to continue with a highlighter. Okay, I can believe that. These copies tragically were lost and thus could not be used to decipher Herbert's intentions for the novel. Oh. There are hints in Heretics and Chapter House, yes. Frank Herbert himself said some stuff in an interview, which I've shared with Jimpad not too long ago. None of this is in Kevin's sequels, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, again, we
Should
can
I
look at
just
the
read this so
timeline.
people have an idea?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Frank Herbert said, "Now I will tell you something interesting in my reading of history. Every time we have pulled the lid off the human desire to govern our own affairs, to be free of government, we've had a renaissance of some kind. We've had a social renaissance, we had a political renaissance, an artistic renaissance. Every time in history we have unleashed this, we've gone forward by leaps and bounds. So I'm saying, all right, this is what history says to me. So why don't we do it again?" That's what I'm playing with in the seventh Dune book. Moving towards showing the kind of governments that finally evolve out of the situation I have created.
Yeah. None
I
of
didn't
this
see
is.
any of this in Hunters.
Yeah, and you won't see any of this in Sandworms.
Oh, okay. Now here's the important part about the notes. Wait, I think I can share this tab. Okay. Shit. In 1997, as they were searching through Herbert's belongings, Brian and Kevin discovered two 1980s floppy disks labeled Dune 7 Notes and Dune 7 Outline.
Because that's totally what people do.
Oh, yeah, definitely, all the writers. Brian explained in an interview, aka Light, that these contained a 3 to 2.5 page outline of his father's thoughts on the seventh Dune novel. Anderson claimed that the idea of resurrecting Paul Atreides as a Gola was Frank Herbert's, and implied that Wellington Yueh's resurrection was part of the notes. Let's look at a picture of the famous notes, these two floppy disks. Okay, so now for something interesting. Brian and Kevin have claimed different things at different times. I'm sure there's more detailed stuff out there. This is not supposed to be the full topic here, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. One thing I have noticed, which is enough for me, I think it was in that Reddit AMA I shared a while ago, where they responded to like, well, not criticism, but comments, just they said the outline was so bare bones that most of the stuff you see in Hunters and Sandworms was made by them because there wasn't much to work with. Now we have this foreword to Sandworms of Dune, where they basically say the opposite. So let me read this. Let me see, where is it? Oh my god, it's so much. Okay, here it is. Oh my god, this is more about these stupid notes. Reading this material, we saw instantly that Dune 7 would be a magnificent culmination of the series, tying together the history and the characters we all knew in an exciting plot with many twists, turns, and surprises. In storage, we also discovered additional notes and papers describing characters and their histories, pages of unused epigraphs, and outlines for other works. This is another thing. It seems to imply the prequels and the other books they wrote is also based on Frank notes.
If there was literally just 2.5 to 3 pages of notes, isn't that the sort of thing that a writer would just be able to keep in their head? Like, why would they
Yes,
actually write it
or
down?
on a piece of paper.
Especially in the 80s, like you'd have a book of notes.
I mean, I'm not a professional, high-profile sci-fi author, or really much of a writer, I guess. But if I write just like an outline on notes and it's so short, just basically just writing down general ideas I have currently, I would just I don't know. I didn't grow up with these things around, but I wouldn't use floppy disks. Is that normal? Was that a thing? I mean, Douglas, you are old.
I'm not old enough to have used floppy disks that look like that. I remember 3.5-inch floppy disks, but not 5.25. I mean, I think you would save files on floppy disks because the computers themselves would have next to no hard disk space of their own.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is something interesting. At last, after more than 9 years of preparation, we feel the time is right for Dune 7. Upon poring over Frank Herbert's outline and notes, we realized that the breadth and scope of the story would have resulted in a novel of more than 1,300 pages.
That's a lot to get from 3 pages of notes.
Wow. For this reason, the story is being presented in 2 volumes, Hunters and Sandworms. Yeah, so apparently the notes are so bare bones that Kevin and Brian have to make up the most of the story by themselves, but it was also so much. And they also found additional outlines for other Dune stories.
That's
apparently.
what I was going to point out. They said originally that they didn't have all that much to work with, and then all of a sudden they had too much to work with.
Yeah.
Which, it makes me believe that
it's a little bit
it's all bullshit. They probably found next to nothing. I don't even know if it's true that Frank had started working on the 7th book.
I can believe he has started working and like coming up with ideas. I believe
he might have started with ideas. I don't even think
I believe there are notes. I believe there are ideas that he saved. I don't believe for a full plot outline, in like a detailed plot outline. General plot points, maybe. What I don't believe is that Kevin and Brian used anything of that, like any of that.
Yeah, that's also one thing, because I do believe that if they found any kind of notes, they would have immediately gone for the sequels to the series. Instead,
well, that is another point we have to address when we get to the actual story of the books.
Yeah.
But first off, another nice little detail. There was this wonderful little thing called the Dune Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
We will get to that in a second. First, I want to read this one. It relates to the topic we just had. From the same forward, much more of the epic remains to be written, and we intend to create additional exciting novels telling other parts of the grand, brilliant tale that Frank Herbert laid out. The saga of Dune is far from over. This was 2006. This was after they had written these sequels and 2 other trilogies beforehand. So again, implying that the books they are writing are at least partially inspired by notes and outlines left behind by Frank, which I highly, 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 highly doubt.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I was going to mention that before. But the reason why I don't believe that they had any kind of notes, or maybe they had something, but it wasn't anything substantial.
Yeah, it
It's
was
because
probably just Frank writing down stuff like more Duncan, more sex powers,
yeah,
you know,
they,
stuff like
they
that.
they wasted. Why would they start writing the prequels?
Oh, they explained that in this forward. You want to see that? Let me see.
Okay,
Um,
I
sorry
guess
that
it
I'm.
would be something along the lines of we were trying to prepare to get a feeling of how to write in Dune before we tackled like the sequels. Is it
Um,
something along those lines? I'm only
it's
guessing. I
worse.
don't
It's
know.
worse. Okay, let me
Oh,
see. First off, this quote is great. Sandworms of Dune is the chronological grand final that he envisioned.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Let me just read all of this bullshit. In 1997, more than a decade after the death of his father, Brian began to discuss with Kevin Janderson the possibility of completing the project of writing the fabled Dune 7. But apparently, Frank Herbert had left no notes, and we thought we would have to do the project based solely on our own imaginations. After further discussions, we realized that a great deal of preliminary work needed to be completed before we could tackle Dune 7, not just laying groundwork for the story itself, but also reintroducing the book buying audience and a whole new generation of readers to the incredible, highly imaginative Dune universe. Oh my god, this is the other contradiction. So here they say they were gonna write Dune books, these prequels, like you said, for a new
Yeah,
generation of Dune fans to get them on board. But now they will also say they found the notes then afterwards, after they already decided on writing Dune prequels. Isn't that interesting considering their own prequel characters are in the sequels? There's something not quite adding up there.
yeah,
We decided to write a trilogy of prequels first. The Prelude series, House Atreides, House Harkonnen, House Corino. When we began to dig through all of Frank Herbert's stored papers, blah, 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 Brian was surprised to learn of 2 safe deposit boxes that his father had taken out before his death. Inside the boxes, Brian and an estate attorney discovered a dot matrix printout and 2 old-style computer disks labeled Dune 7 Outline and Dune 7 Notes, pages describing exactly where the creator of Dune had intended to take his story.
yeah. Which is contradictory to what they said eventually.
Okay, oh yeah, okay, yeah, you were right. This is what they were saying with writing prequels. From the beginning of our monumental task, we realized that it would not only be impossible, but also foolish to attempt to imitate Frank Herbert's writing style. Both of us were strongly influenced by his writing, and some fans have remarked on certain similarities in style. Fuck off, definitely not in case of Kevin. However, we consciously choose to write these books to capture the feel and scope of Dune, using aspects of Frank Herbert's style, but with our own pacing and syntax. And then they just talk about how they have raped and destroyed this franchise by turning it into a franchise flop with the fucking House Atreides, uh, the fucking TV movie miniseries and stuff.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I haven't read any of the prequels, so I
Dude,
can't really. I
so
can imagine what I know. I know.
yeah, Jeremy is trying to reading them. He's actively thinking of giving up.
Okay.
I think he's still on
Yeah.
the Butlerian Jihad, so he made it through the first trilogy. But the Butlerian Jihad is so bad that he's actually thinking of saying fuck it.
Which is interesting because my
He's
understanding
more
is,
accepting of Kevin than I am. Reminder.
yeah, it's interesting because I think the Butlerian Jihad trilogy, is it a trilogy? Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. It's a trilogy. Like I think those books are supposed to be their best work, at least
That's sad.
according to the fans. I think, but I think we should talk more about Hunters of Dune because we really don't know anything about the prequels. I know
Well,
certain
I
stuff.
know something
From
about because this ties in with. Should we
Yeah,
spoil the big twist of the sequels?
I mean, I don't think Douglas
I
will
think
ever.
everybody. So let's just say it. It's
I'm never
Skynet.
going to read them.
It's Skynet. It's all Skynet and the
Yeah,
Terminators. It's robots.
I already knew that.
yeah.
Yeah, you knew that. Yeah, it's yeah. So, but the Butlerian. What is the Butlerian Jihad? Jim, what is the Butlerian Jihad in Frank's original books, or at least heavily implied because he doesn't really
W-
dwell on it.
Well, in the original books, the Butlerian Jihad isn't explained in great detail. From what I remember, essentially, what 10,000 years before the book, or something along those lines, there was some sort of war that went on, a very destructive war, and they say that it was against thinking machines, and the humans won, and that's why they have banned the the thinking machines. That's why they need the navigators. That's why the spice is so precious, and without it, the entire civilization crumbles.
Yeah, but the
But
important
we
part
don't get.
is the important part is the thinking machines part and what
Yes.
exactly that means.
So with the thinking machines, it's never quite explained what the thinking machines are. If it was a war against literal thinking machines, or was a war of ideas, the way I kind of the way I thought it would be, it wasn't really like the kind of standard humans against robots. It was more of a war of ideas, maybe
Yeah.
maybe like a almost religious war, where some people
I
would
mean, it's
be.
called a jihad.
Yeah, exactly. Where
And
In,
that's
some
interesting
in
you
people
the,
would
mentioned.
be.
it says in
Mhm.
the appendix of Dune that the jihad was a crusade against the machines and those who used them.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that part,
exactly.
those who use them, that's sort of I think a clue of what Frank was going for.
Yeah. And in the
So
God Emperor of Dune, it says the target of the jihad was a machine attitude as much as the machines.
Yeah,
and this fits with the famous Dune Encyclopedia, which is another topic, because this book, well, it was decanonized, so to speak, and put out of print by Kevin and Brian because they think their works are the real deal. And they also said Frank Herbert never accepted the book, which is interesting because he said something quite different, which I would like to read. Additionally, Frank Herbert approved the book, considering it amusing and fascinating. The encyclopedia was compiled and published between God Emperor of Dune and Heretics of Dune, and Herbert read large portions of God Emperor of Dune, then in the final stages to McNally during the compiling of the volumes, so that McNally could keep abreast of developments. Herbert himself wrote the foreword for the encyclopedia, dated November 1983, which noted, here is a rich background and foreground for the Dune Chronicles, including scholarly bypaths and amusing sidelights. Some of the contributions are sure to arouse controversy based as they are on questionable sources. I must confess that I found it fascinating to re-enter here some of the sources on which the Chronicles are built. As the Dune fan, I give this encyclopedia my delight approval, although I hold my own counsel on some of the issues still to be explored as the Chronicles unfold. That sounds pretty accepting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I would also like to explain what he means with questionable sources. The book is written as an in-universe historical text. And it is made very clear that it's like... I've heard there's like stuff in there about like one of the in-universe writers thinking that Paul Atreides and Muad'Dib are two different people. And we know that's not true to the actual books, but again, it's written from like not trustworthy in-universe sources.
Yeah, it's clever writing.
Yeah. And this is the interesting part. Why do we believe that Butlerian Jihad, that it's an actual war against Terminators? Why do we think that's bullshit and not Frank's vision? Because we have besides from Frank's own books, we have this little anecdote. In 1999, McNeely stated that he had proposed to Frank Herbert that they collaborate on a Dune prequel novel, expanding upon the Butlerian Jihad story that was presented in the Dune Encyclopedia, which is what we just discussed, a war of ideologies and not really like Terminator stuff, but people using these advanced machines against other people. He noted, Frank and I had discussed writing it together, and he agreed with my general plot outline, completed first chapter, and so on. But his untimely death prevented us from continuing.
Yeah. So it's interesting that Brian didn't collaborate with this guy. This could have been.
Oh no, they shot him down when he tried to get his encyclopedia reprinted. And he's like, this is not official, you're a fraud, you're a piece of shit, fuck off. We are Dune. We are the writers, goddammit. We are canon. Which they have this great quote. Beginning in 1999, Frank Herbert's son Brian and novelist Kevin J. Anderson began writing and publishing a series of Dune prequel novels, leading to a renewed interest in an expanding Dune universe. Around this time, McNally made efforts to have the Dune Encyclopedia reprinted. However, the Herbert estate would not authorize it. The Dune Encyclopedia was subsequently declared non-canon on the official Dune website in a letter credited to Brian Herbert, Anderson, and McNally. The Dune Encyclopedia reflects an alternate Dune universe which did not necessarily represent the canon created by Frank Herbert. Brian Herbert, writing with Kevin Anderson, is continuing to establish the canon of the Dune universe. This is being done with the full approval of the owner of the Dune copyright, the Herbert Limited Partnership. Isn't that basically saying Brian Herbert is authorizing Brian Herbert to write Frank Herbert canon?
I guess.
It feels like there are parallels to what happened with Disney Star Wars, because it's all about who holds the copyright rather than who the creator is.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the comparison people make is Christopher Tolkien. And I mean, I'm not into Lord of the Rings, but from what I know, he released J.R.R. Tolkien's notes and stuff instead of writing his own shit.
That's right? Better. Yeah, I think, again, I am not a big Lord of the Rings fan either, so I don't know all that much. I think he might have polished the notes might have sort of gave the book some structure, but I don't think he really added stuff. But
Yeah.
again, I don't know much about Lord of the Rings, so I can't really speak to that.
Yeah, but again, people use that as like the comparison. If like a son is taking over a popular IP from his father, you have Christopher Tolkien as like the good example, and then Brian Herbert is the other side, where you just fucking cash in and you try to make it your own, and you don't give a shit about your dad's vision. But as we know, they really try to make that clear in like the foreword and stuff. This is definitely Frank's vision. This is where it was all building towards.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, this stupid line. They found these stupid floppy disk labeled Dune 7 Outline and Dune 7 Notes, pages describing exactly where the creator of Dune had intended to take his story. Would you agree with that? I mean, you have read up until Sandworms.
Would I agree with that? No. You haven't read the ending, and
Yeah, we will get to that.
how do I put this? You know, uh, it's one of the worst things I've ever read in my life.
Mhm.
And I have read The Darkness. You know,
Yeah, understandable. I mean, I've only read Hunters, and you know how I feel about that. Hunters, okay, I
yeah,
guess we can start with the actual review now. Hunters of Dune. Because
yes,
apparently, while the outline was bare bones, as we know, it was also so detailed. They knew they had to split this into two books. Hunters of Dune. I made this comparison uh, because this is franchise slop, so it's a fair comparison. Hand of Thrawn by Timothy Zahn. It was supposed to be one book. It was split into two, and the first Hand of Thrawn book is just setup. There is stuff happening, but it's mostly just setup, and the real meat is in the second book. This Dune sequel duology is similar. Hunters of Dune, basically nothing happens except setting up what is going to be the meat of the story, which is going to be Sandworms. The difference, obviously, is just Hand of Thrawn is written by Zahn, and Zahn is not a great author, but he's a competent one. So that's okay.
I don't think there is a comparison.
Hmm.
He is better. Like, come on.
Yeah, I know Zahn is a better author. I'm saying that positively, Hand of Thrawn, that's an example. That works.
Yeah.
This here doesn't work.
Yeah, but it doesn't work because they don't, you know, they don't have all that much to work with in that book. It feels like there are about 100 pages of stuff happening in the first part of the book, and it's like 400 pages of nothing. You read it recently, so you remember better. But like
Yes.
the,
Well,
a
I
huge
want to
part of the
explain
book
this.
is nothing.
Yes, the
It's
book is nothing and it's stretched, and I want to talk about this. So, Hunters of Dune, I started reading it last year in 2024.
we
Then I
started
paused.
together, I think.
Yeah, we started together at the same time, and you actually pulled through and read both books. I gave.
Yeah, well, I stopped. I think at the same time with you. I just started a couple of months later.
Mhm.
I restarted it and I actually finished both books.
Yeah, but so last year I read the first 160 pages. As an explanation, my ebook copy, a German translation, is like 600 pages. I read the first
Yeah.
160 and then I gave up, and that was it. This year I decided I'm gonna finish it, and I was like, I'm not gonna restart the first 160 pages. The first 160 pages, that's stuff that you can. It could have taken 50 pages, tops.
Yes, but at least it's new stuff.
Yeah. Um, but so I started again at a random chapter. I think it was like chapter 24. And I was kind of worried, oh, am I even gonna be able to understand this? It has been a year since I read the book. I remember vaguely all the character and stuff, what was set up so far. And then I jumped back in. And what do I get? In this random early chapter, relatively early, it made me realize why this book is so long. Because it retells everything that has just happened in the last couple of chapters. And that's why it was so easy for me to come back in, because this book is repeating so much information to the reader. It's actually insane. And it is just used to stretch the book because Dune books are supposed to be massive. Kevin and Brian have nothing to say, and the little story they stretch as much as possible with as much repetition as they can.
Which is interesting because I would say the next book is overly bloated with a bunch of stuff happening at the same time.
Yeah, and remember, they said Dune 7 would have been 1,300 pages if it was one book, apparently, because there was so much material, apparently.
Which is another way of saying that there was nothing.
Yeah. So, the story itself. Should we spoil? Because we would have to spoil the ending of Chapter House and stuff.
Is there? Yeah.
I mean, Douglas, you haven't reached that point yet. Even you okay with that? Or?
I'm only going to live another 40 or 50 years, so I don't expect to read Kevin J. Anderson, Brian Herbert.
No.
No. We mean spoiling Chapter House, Dune. One of the good books.
Oh, Chapter House, but go ahead.
Are you sure?
Really? Because I think this would give you a nice mindfuck moment. When
why don't I just go and put my supper on, and I'll come back in like 5 minutes.
All right.
So I'll do that.
Would that work? Because the entire plot.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? No. Douglas, stay on. You still here?
Yep.
Okay, I think I can describe this without spoiling too much, because it's a relatively simple setup. So basically, after the events of Frank Herbert's saga, there has been a lot has been set up. So there are the Bene Gesserit, as we know. There are the honored matrices. Are they called in English, right?
Honored Matres, I think.
Honored Matres. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, two groups of female sex weirdo religious nuts, and they are fighting against each other. And by the start of this book, they are united by Murbella.
Yes.
Character. And she wants to unite all of them, and there are still rogue factions that she has to deal with. And she wants to unite these two factions because there is a great enemy outside of known space that is going to attack. That is the general setup there. And that is her entire plotline, by the way.
Yeah.
That goes through the book. And it's really... Again, that's useless. That feels like something you could just like explain in like backstory.
Yeah. She could have not appeared in the entirety of the first book, Hunters of Dune.
Dude, I guarantee you, if this was
at the end, where they would tell us, she did all of the stuff. She prepared the witches. She got them all together.
Dude, I guarantee you, if this was in a Frank Herbert book as a plotline, that would just be like a backstory. That would be like a chapter.
But no, we get the entire story of her. Essentially, I think just attacking different cells of Honored Matres and destroying them one by one, and then bringing them into the fold.
And finding like signs of like the great enemy, because the face dancers are also there and doing their own thing. So there's something there going on, I guess. But that is the one plot line. The big plot line, even though nothing happens in it, is our main characters around Duncan, Idaho, and friends. They are traveling with some of the sandworms from Dune, They are escaping the great enemy, in their nose ship. And they are on this ship for 20 years because this book takes place over 20 fucking years. It starts like directly where Chapter House ends, and then it just,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's
a bunch of time
right.
skips. Just so because they decide, okay, we are in this no ship. Their entire plot line is just we are fleeing from the great enemy because they have sensed where we are. Let's create a bunch of clones of every Dune character from Frank Herbert's books.
Yes, yes.
And that's it. And then it's taken over 20 years in the story because these fucking clones have to grow up.
It's kind of
And that
funny. We're doing a horrible job at presenting the plot, but it's
no,
not
I think I'm
entirely
doing a pretty
our
good
fault.
job because that is the plot.
No, you forgot there is a character that has the DNA of all the.
Oh, Skytail?
I guess I haven't read it in over a year and a half.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, I think that's the one. And again, the problem is there's nothing happens with a lot of these characters. Like
Yeah.
I know you don't know how the story ends, but they're useless characters. Skytel is there for such a long time, and he ends up doing next to nothing.
Yes, that is most of the characters in here.
He gives up the capsule with the DNA, and he's useless.
Then there's also famous the rabbi and the Jews.
Yes, that was, I would say, one point to Brian and Kevin. These chapters could have come from Frank Herbert, like with the Jews.
Hmm.
I do believe that.
Oh,
There's
that is
something
high
there.
praise.
No, it's not. But
Oh yeah, Douglas, as a warning for the last Dune books, prepare for the Jews to come back into the universe.
That's okay. I like the Jews.
Yeah, it was very I mean, it was fascinating because out of nowhere.
yeah,
Oh yeah, by the way, the Jews, they are back. They have been around like for all this. All the Dune books take place over tens of thousands of years, and the Jews are still there. They are still the same. They haven't evolved really.
no.
And I have no idea what Frank was really going with that plotline.
I don't know either. But
Just
I will
great
say,
world building.
yeah, they were really good in Chapter House.
Mhm.
Uh, One other thing that we could talk about was we finally learn how the Tleliaxu are making their golas.
Was that explained in this one? I assumed that was in Chapter House, and it is possible I'm mixing
I'm
up
not
Kevin Dune.
sure. It's implied in Chapter House. What do they call the machines? Well, the machines that make the
That
golas.
like t- God, tanks or something?
Something along breeding tanks. No,
Bre-
that wasn't it.
birthing tanks? You know what? You know
Something
what
along
I
those
what you
lines.
mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I read it in German, so I have no idea what it's called in English. But
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
um, let's just call it like Tleilaxu tanks.
Yeah.
But so it was hunters that explained what they are, because I couldn't remember if it was because again I read this book over a year.
Yeah. So, if my memory serves me right, I think it was implied in Chatterhouse that it was something, and then we get the confirmation in Hunters. Which, to be fair, I did
Okay,
I did kind of feel like that was Frank's plan as well.
okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, that one I can maybe see.
But yeah, the again the
Douglas, you
problem
want
with
to
this book
learn what
is
those
that
tanks are?
yeah, I mean, he probably has some idea. He's read the second and third book, so
I mean, I don't remember that being implied in the second and third book. Axolotl tanks.
axolotl tanks, right? Yeah, that's right.
Douglas, you remember that from Dune Messiah? I think he's gone. Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But yeah, okay. Again, I couldn't remember if this was in Hunters or not. But okay. Um, this is also how they got rid of one character who became an axolotl tank.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Uh, that happens in Hunters. Gee, maybe I should have read the book
Yeah, that
again.
happens in Hunters. Yep. But okay, let's. So that's two storylines already. We have Morbella trying to unite the two bitches. You know,
Yes,
those two sides, those two factions. Um, then we have Duncan and friends in the no ship, just traveling in the unknown universe and raising a bunch of clones. They are also, and it's all connected because the great enemy. We don't know what the great enemy really is.
yes,
Just that it's very bad.
and
In
they're
a third
trying to,
storyline,
and the enemies are trying to catch the no ship.
yes. In a third storyline, we have the face dancers, which are not called face dancers anymore. At one point in the book, at least in my copy, in the German version, they just got referred to as shapeshifters.
I don't remember any.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
just
remember the
noticed at
names.
one point. I just noticed it at one point because it felt like this book has a lot less Frank Herbert Dune words in it. And then I noticed, oh, they just keep calling them shapeshifters, like the normal term for them,
There is a
instead of
point to
face
be made that
dancers.
they are sort of the an advanced type of face dancers because I think those face dancers were created by the Tleliaksu that went into the diaspora
Yes,
after
I remember that from Hunters.
after
It's
the fourth
explained that
book.
they are special and like the bitches can't detect
Oh, and
them
I might have
as
spoiled
easily.
you, right? I don't know if that
Doesn't matter.
was
No,
revealed or
I think I read that. It doesn't matter. But
okay, okay, sorry.
so
See,
that
the
is the
problem is
first.
that I have sort of meshed those two books together in my mind,
Mhm.
and I have to be careful with what I say. But yeah, no, go on.
So that is the third storyline. The shapeshifters are also doing something. They have hired a scientist, the last surviving member of the. Was it the Tleilaxu? But anyway, that guy is working for them. He's supposed to create clones of. He's supposed to create clones of Baron Harkonnen and Paul Atreides.
Yes,
But this Paul clone, he's Italian. He's called. What was his stupid name?
Paolo,
Paolo?
Paolo.
Paolo, yes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, yeah, we
So we
get
have
that.
evil Italian Paul and Finn, fit Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. And yeah,
And now that we are talking about the the Baron, we can talk about the best part of this book.
yes. So when little clone Baron Harkonnen is growing up, who's the character that's taking care of him?
That's Leliaksu, I think. The guy who creates
Not
him.
the scientist. I mean, wasn't it the main shapeshifter guy who's doing the thing with him? You know, the competition.
He's also there. He oversees, I think, his
Crone, I
grooming.
think is his name.
Yes, I think. Uh,
Isn't
The
he the
face
one who's doing
dancers.
all the disgusting stuff we're going to talk about in a second? Because it's definitely not the scientist.
Yes, yes.
Okay, first off, that scientist is the most Kevin J. Anderson character in this book.
Yes,
And
she
it's the
is.
most Kevin J. Anderson storyline, which leads to nothing. It's supposed to have an ironic ending, but it just feels like utterly pointless. Like you just wasted my time as a reader with this entire plot line.
It is pointless. Yeah, it's funny, but it's pointless, and it's
Yeah.
disappointing because it's so many pages dedicated to a character and it ends to nothing. It
Yeah.
has no bearing on the plot. His
And
entire
it
role
ends
has been
and it ends with a way in a way that's humorous. Like you're supposed to laugh at it, like, oh, this is the ironic, funny, tragic ending to
yes,
this
but
guy, but
it's
uh,
shocking comedy, which
yeah.
doesn't work in.
And it's
It's
also
not
fucking it's
humorous.
more brutal than I expected from Kevin J. Anderson.
Oh yeah, they do some. They have some fun with violence in these books.
Mhm. Um, but yeah, so that is the third storyline. The face dance shapeshifters. They are creating this clone, and they are what would you call it? Oh god, my brain is melting. They are infiltrating different organizations like the bitches and stuff. These two, both groups, the Honored Matrix and the Bene Gesserit. And it kind of follows what basically is set up at the end of Frank's book. You know, the shapeshifters have a role to play.
Yes,
So you may be tricked into thinking, oh, is this actually following Frank's vision?
Hmm.
But then we learn so the shapeshifters are working for the great enemy, and but they are not themselves the great enemy. But they do plan on going rogue. They have their own plans that is set up in Hunters.
yes, that's true.
Yeah. Um, and then I don't want to spoil who the faces are of the great enemy that we see because that is a Frank thing, that is a mindfuck ending that I don't want to spoil. But then we get the reveal. I can't spoil this. These characters have been explained to be shapeshifters, face dancers, as Frank called them.
Yes,
And we were under this assumption throughout the entirety of this book as well. Not the entirety, most of this book. But then
you
we got the
get the reveal.
revelation. This is the only big plot thing that actually happens in this book. The last chapter of this book, so basically most of the book, it's pure repetition. Nothing happens for over 500 pages. It is boring,
Yes,
uninteresting. Nothing really happens character-wise either. It is just set up like, oh, interesting stuff will happen eventually, but not in this book. And then the last chapter is so terrible. It ruins this book. It somehow manages to make this book even worse than it is, and already poisons the next book by going full retard.
what's
Because
the
we
end?
retcon
Remind me. What exactly
the ending.
is it? The reveal of who the enemy is?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes. I have to look
Well,
up what
to
the
be fair,
name is.
you must have known before you read the.
I have heard who they are, but I wasn't prepared for the execution of how it's done. You know,
Yeah, it's
the end chapter reveals. Well, the chapter before that alludes to who the great enemy is because the Bene Gesserit and the Honored Matrix working together, they now learn because for some reason, even though they fled from the great enemy, they don't know who it is.
because it happens throughout many generations, and they supposedly don't even really remember.
Oh yeah, that's
Again,
the plot
I
point
can't.
that they Honored Matrix, unlike the Bene Gesserit, don't have like the memory thing going
Yes,
on.
yes.
Okay.
Again, s- another problem with me having read the last book and you not having read it. At some point, probably in Sandworms, because you haven't mentioned that plot point, you will see some of the, I guess, tools that the great enemy uses against the honored mattress, and you will also find out how exactly these witches came into contact with the great enemy.
Oh no, I that is explained. That
Is
is
it?
explained at the end of Hunters. Yeah, that's before the last chapter where the
Do you
enemy, like
remember
the
it?
main villain, does the
You
reveal.
can tell me so that I won't spoil anything.
I only vaguely remember this because it was explained so poorly. Wasn't it? It was the women of the Tleilaxu. They fled because we should explain this. The
Ah, yeah,
axolotl
yeah, 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 yeah.
tanks. So the Tleilaxu create clones with axolotl tanks, and this has never been explained in Frank's books, but this book reveals fully. Axolotl tanks are women,
Yes, because
essentially getting
in
they
the
they they are turned
Tleliaxu
they be,
civilization, women are just supposed to be breeding
yeah,
tanks, I
yeah,
guess.
and they become brain dead or whatever, and they are just
Yeah.
baby machines. And it is explained that Tleilaxu women they rebelled and fled
And
and just
yeah,
what was it? They just created chaos and attacked planets and people for some reason.
well, I think they kind of intermingled with the Bene Gesserit that were
Yeah,
also in the
did,
diaspora.
did they just kill men out of revenge? There was something because of they were suppressed under the
Maybe,
Tleilaxu.
maybe I
Um,
don't remember. I don't remember
but
that part.
for some reason they attacked planets and stuff.
So I think, yeah. So I think that the way these honored matres were created was the remnants of the god emperor's army, who were all women,
The fish
the
speakers
fish
or whatever they're called.
speakers,
Yeah.
the some Bene Gesserit, and the and I think some Tleliaxu women. They essentially sort of banded together and created this the honored matres.
Okay. And then they just
And
again I don't fully remember the reason, but they attacked just random planets.
yes, and they
And
had, go
and
ahead, go ahead.
eventually they reached a planet
Yes,
where they got in contact with the great enemy,
an outpost of the great enemy.
an outpost. Douglas, are you back? I'm gonna take this as a no.
That's better. It's better because he doesn't have to listen to this.
Oh my, he should listen to this. This is the interesting part. Because,
Is it?
okay, I guess. So in the last two chapters, we get the reveal the great enemy, it's the machines. They thought they
Yeah.
had defeated them back in the Butlerian Jihad, but they are back.
Two of them have.
No, 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 no. That is the very last chapter that explains the main villains. The second to last chapter, it just explains in general the great enemy, that it's the
Oh,
thinking
okay.
machines. And I was like, I was so dead inside with that reveal. Because the book has been terrible, but it hadn't been cancer yet.
I
And then
disagree.
the reveal
I
happened.
think
I
it
knew
was.
it was coming, and I was still shocked at how bad it is.
I wasn't shocked at all. I was fully expecting it.
No, I mean, I was also expecting it, but I didn't expect my reaction to it. Like, it made me think, oh my god, before this twist, the book was almost okay. It wasn't, it's terrible, but that's the reaction I
Okay.
got because suddenly, in full force, because the first, it felt like they are trying to do a Frank Herbert type of thing. It doesn't
What?
work because they are both shit writers. But then that twist, it's like hitting you in the face,
Okay.
like full
So
on.
I get your point.
Mm.
I disagree in the sense that it was really bad. And I remember when I read it, I didn't really feel particularly shocked by the ending. I didn't think it became worse. I just thought it was the same
Maybe
amount of shit.
maybe I was just delusional and thinking, oh, maybe it doesn't happen Maybe reality changes and like something good will actually be in this book. But no, the twist happened. And then the last chapter, we got the reveal. Two
Yes.
characters by created by Frank Herbert, which Frank Herbert directly states are shapeshifters.
Yes.
Nope. Nope.
Well,
That no.
they are the. Can I spoil? Should I?
I want to. I mean,
You
okay.
can do it. You can do it.
They are robots. They are
Yes.
Skynet. They are the main villains from Kevin's Butlerian Jihad prequel trilogy, with the main one being called what's his stupid name? Oh, there it is, Omnius, because it sounds like ominous. Get it?
Yes, I
You get
get it.
it?
It's
That is
Omnius and
that is George Lucas level of naming characters.
it's Omnius and Erasmus, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is entirely too bad because you'll read Sandworms and you'll look back at Hunters thinking that it was great.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. I did. I know I did. I don't know if you will have the same reaction.
Well, we will find
Um,
out eventually.
so I think one other thing that we should mention is that one of the reasons why the honored matres are so dangerous is because they have these weapons that can destroy planets. If you remember, a certain planet in the fifth book is decimated. Do you remember that?
What? Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was looking at
Yeah, yeah.
Kevin's stupid
So,
page.
I was saying that uh, the main reason why the honored matres are so dangerous is because they have these weapons that
Hmm.
can destroy planets.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And there is a planet that is destroyed in the fifth book, uh, and we
Oh
we find out that these weapons were made by the great enemy, and that they
no.
you didn't know that.
I
Sorry.
yes, I knew what. Yeah, but oh, I didn't think about that event in book 5 in Heretics. I didn't connect that. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So
Oh
you
my
do understand
god.
how you do understand where this is going, right?
I'm afraid so.
Yeah. So,
Kevin's favorite character. Kevin's favorite characters in Legends of Dune trilogy are Selim Wormrider and Erasmus.
Selling Worm Rider is a very Star Wars name.
Oh, look at this shit. Look at
Don't.
this fucking shit.
Oh no.
Jesus Christ, why?
Yeah.
What does Omnius look like?
Oh, I had never looked at this artwork. Oh, this is so much worse. To be fair, when I was reading those books, I was just imagining the Terminators.
Yeah. He's
Which, by the way, I
what?
think they.
What the fuck is what?
Yeah.
Sisterhood of Dune mentioned, Mentats of Dune mentioned. Isn't it interesting that he's the big bad guy from the Butlerian Jihad and he's never mentioned? Uh, like the Butlerian Jihad, like the most important historical event in the Dune universe, but the main bad guy from it is never mentioned in Frank Herbert's books. But Emperor Hitler is mentioned.
Oh yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. I wonder why uh, Omnius, the character, clearly a Frank Herbert original, because obviously Frank's vision, the notes, the outlines,
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, this looks so shit. Is this the only artwork for him? Which one is he? The brain or this doofus?
I have no idea.
This makes Erasmus look cool in comparison.
Yeah. You're saying that because you haven't read Sandworms.
Yeah, I know. This this is so fucking bad. I have no fucking words.
Yeah.
Oh my! This is the Butlerian Giada, everybody.
Yes.
And I'm gonna guess this is what awaits me basically in Sandworms.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're gonna get some. You're gonna get some nice.
I
Some
hope
nice stuff.
Douglas is coming back. He should see this. This is
I'm watching.
okay. You should, yeah. Isn't this what you were picturing when you read Frank Herbert's books so far? You know, don't you see? This is what it's leading up to. Clearly, this is Frank's vision. Wait. So Brian Herbert, I usually write the first draft of the Erasmus character. Kevin came up with a character, a thinking machine, who was researching what it was like to be human. And I said, let's add the Nazi medical researcher, Dr. Mengele, to him. And Kevin laughed and said, boy, Brian, I don't know if I can write that. You better do it. Kevin came up with the character.
Sounds about right.
Again, going back to Frank's notes. So Kevin was the one who had the idea of creating a thinking machine villain. Huh. I guess geniuses really think alike. Kevin must have predicted Frank
Genius
Herbert's
is.
ideas, you know.
Yeah,
Because
that's one
clearly,
way of.
yeah. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, so more proof that all of this note talk is bullshit. Oh, I like that the official Dune wiki has this disclaimer that many readers considers the books to be inconsistent with Frank Herbert's originals in tone and subtext and factual detail.
Yeah, you'll really get why this is everywhere in the Dune wiki once you read Sandworms.
Oh boy. I'm hyped. Let me tell you. I'm absolutely hyped.
I'm sure.
Wait, what? A possible rationalization of this can be found in 2008's Paul of Dune novel, where it is strongly implied that Frank Herbert's original Dune was an in-universe document. This is the first I'm hearing of this. Hold the fuck on. Paul of Dune suggests that the original Dune was written by Princess Irulan as The Life of Muad'Dib, Volume 1. It also implies that Irulan was an unreliable narrator because Paul withheld irrelevant parts about his life, especially his childhood. This suggests that the expanded Dune books claim higher authority than the originals.
I didn't know that, that's interesting.
The original Dune is just fan fiction, bro.
The original... Dude,
Should we talk
get
about the
Magnino
original...
Alex on this. I
Should we
want to
talk
see
about
his...
the original Spice Planet? I should read that.
Oh yeah, that is Frank Herbert's first like rough drafts of Dune when he was like, "Oh, this is actually shit. I'm gonna throw this away," and then Kevin picked them out of the trash and was like, "Hey, what if it's Dune, but it's terrible?" And then he wrote that. Oh my! Oh, I'm so done with it all reading that.
It's really respecting the author's original vision, huh?
Frank's vision was always that Frank's vision was fan fiction and not real. Like he always, Frank's vision was always his son is going to take over and write the real Dune. That actually makes me angry. Like I didn't know all of this. Holy shit! By the way, Paul of Dune. That is the one Dune novel by Kevin that even Matt Wilkins hates.
Paul of Dune.
Paul of Dune. Yeah.
I know there is a maybe you know it. Do you remember how they created the face dancers created the Paul Atreides clone? Do you remember?
Oh, wasn't there like a some dagger that they used that has like
Yes.
blood on
I
it?
think in Paul of Dune, the
I
the
was wondering
mention
about that. They mentioned
yeah,
that there was like an assassination attempt, and I was like,
yes.
"Is this in?" Because I have read Dune Messiah so long ago. Was that in that, or is that
No,
another
no, no,
reference?
no,
So it
no.
is from. Oh
It
my
is from
god!
the expanded Duniverse, as you call it.
Oh my god!
It's remember in the first book at the end where the fight between Fade Rotha and Paul is done and Paul
Yeah,
wins.
yeah.
The Emperor kind of orders his mentor friend to kill Paul, who was supposedly a failed experiment to be for a Kwisatz Haderach, and he sort of refuses. Not sort of. He refuses to do it, and we don't really know why. It's he. This guy has a Bene Gesserit wife, and it's kind of implied that they don't want it to happen. In that book, I think it's in Paul of Dune. He, I think he has a daughter or something, and he want, or maybe I'm wrong. There is a plot to kill uh to kill Paul, and somehow he's stabbed with a dagger. And like how many thousands of years later, this is the dagger that they use that has the blood of Paul Atreides, and they make the clone.
Hmm. God, I hate this. I hate this. There's besides the fucking robot bullshit from the Butlerian Jihad trilogy. There's other prequel Dune shit uh, thrown into this sequel. Like, what's her name? Serena Butler. That is her. She's also
Yes,
directly mentioned.
yes,
There is an explanation. I couldn't believe it because Jeremy told me this because he read that fucking Legends of Dune trilogy or whatever. That explains like the backstory of Vladimir Harkonnen. And because Kevin, they explain why he's fat. And it's not just
yes.
because he's a fat pedophile. It's because he raped some character I don't fully remember.
I
And he
think it's
was
the
cursed.
yeah.
He was cursed by the Bene Gesserit leader, that lady from the first Dune,
I think he raped
Mohaim.
her. I'm pretty sure.
Possibly, I'm not sure on the
Maybe
details.
I'm wrong.
But he,
Maybe I'm wrong.
but he, in retaliation, he gets cursed to become fat, and that is mentioned in Hunters of Dune when the Gola of him regains
Yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
memories. I, Fuck you, Kevin. Just
Yeah, especially with the Baron, who it's very clear that Frank made him monstrously fat to show how indulgent and hedonistic he was. But no, it's actually a curse.
it's a magical curse.
Yeah, there is no point. It's better. It's better for the story if I think it it's one of those character traits that really works for the Baron,
Yeah.
and Kevin sort of takes it away.
It's so bad. So that is something I noticed because at one point I started to realize Hunters of Dune is not really a sequel to Frank Herbert's Dune. It's a sequel to Kevin's prequels of Dune. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. Yeah, no, because the tone is just doesn't work with the original six, but I bet it works with the rest of their books.
I mean, obviously. I mean, we can talk shortly about writing and plotting and general the technicalities because we've only talked about the
We
story
can,
being
we
retarded
can.
and stuff. The writing is so extremely shallow. Any of the depth from Frank's style, it's not there. None of the text makes you think. Because that's also a thing with Frank. Like God Emperor of Dune is a great example. That's a very philosophical book.
Yes,
There are two action scenes in God Emperor of Dune, and the rest is just talking.
and by the
And
way,
it's
they're
all
both pretty throwaway scenes.
yes, because the talking of the characters and the musing and the philosophical stuff, that is the meat. That is the interesting stuff.
Yeah,
And you actually have to think a little bit while reading, and then you can still think about it after reading. That makes the books memorable. This book is written by Kevin J. Anderson. Um, so everything is surface level. The writing is on the level of 10-year-olds, which I guess fits perfectly because this is written for an American audience. That's, how they read.
okay,
Um,
okay. Yeah.
they're going to be happy. They can understand. There are no big words in it. I don't know. So, yeah, so that's a problem that the writing style is so simplistic. The chapters are extremely short, which is the one positive I actually gonna give this book.
Yes, I
It
agree.
is a
I agree.
it kind of is a problem as well, but it's also nice because that means I'm not stuck on a chapter for 30 pages.
It's the
I don't
only
think there's
way
a
you can read that book.
yes, because it makes you feel accomplished. Oh, I have read a chapter. I guess I can power through another one because I don't think there's a chapter in here that's longer than like 10 pages
and
tops.
and it has and it's every chapter is cut up to like four parts. If you
Yeah.
notice, like they change scene every 1.5 to 2 pages.
Yeah. So that makes it an easy enough book to read through, I guess,
Yeah,
and not get completely stuck. But yeah, like we said, it's also full of just repetition. Like I hadn't touched this book in a year, and I immediately was back in because it re it retold everything that just happened in the prior chapters, which it would have been a nightmare reading all of this at once because
it
why are
was.
you keep telling me the same information again and again like with
It was.
nothing new added to it, like you're
They
just
literally do
stretching.
the same scene about 4 or 5 times
Yes, and it adds nothing. It is literally just there to stretch the page count.
for no reason, too.
Yeah, this book is 600 pages. It could have been 300 at most,
Yes,
probably less. Again, if this was written by Frank, let's just assume it with obviously this the main whatever.
I'm having a hard time, but yeah, go on.
I mean, cut out the end twist with the robots and let's just assume there's three storylines going on. Shapeshifters doing something, Morbella and the bitches doing something, and Duncan and crew doing something. Okay, the story of this book would have been 100 pages. That would have been spread out as backstory or something.
Yes,
That would have been it. Like Dune 7 would have just been sandworms, I guess, right? Just because that is when stuff happens.
probably, yeah, I think.
Yeah, and then there's like 50 to
It's
100
difficult to
pages
say
total.
because he wouldn't have written anything that has anything to do with this.
Yeah, yeah.
I get it in a hypothetical scenario, yeah, I think so. But I think that whatever Frank's vision may have been or would have been, it would have been so radically different from this that I'm having a hard time uh, drawing a comparison or
Yeah,
creating a scenario where Frank has written anything close to this.
yeah. I mean, we will never know because these notes are never going to be revealed to the public.
Yes.
Which, again, two reasons. One, the notes don't exist at all, which is possible. It's I would say it's kind of unlikely. Um, there seems to be some proof that they must exist in some form. But again, my main thing is like,
Something might exist, but not all that much.
yes, like I said, it's probably just have more Duncan Golas, more sex. Like
Mm.
that type of notes. Like I don't believe for a second that there's a fully detailed plot outline. Which they
Yeah, I
basically,
agree.
again, they admitted that it was bare bones and they had to make up a lot. But then they also say, oh, that was so much, we had to split this into two books. Frank left so much. We wrote all these prequels. It's also part of what Frank left behind. There
Yeah.
must have been a lot on those two floppy disks. They have written like 20 novels.
I mean, yeah. The implication isn't that the prequels come uh, from Frank, just
It
the
kind of
sequel.
is. It
Is
kind of
it?
is because the bad guys from the prequels are featured in the sequels. But the
Okay, maybe.
prequels don't align with what Frank was going to do at all, and that is confirmable easily. So
I think
it
they
is
just.
all bullshit. It is all just bullshit. We're just debating
I
to
agree.
which
I
degree
agree.
it's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I don't think there's much else to talk about
Yeah,
because
because
this book
Hunters,
is
again,
again so empty.
I guess we can do another one with sandworms. That one, I'm sure it's going to be even more angry because
At
that's
least
when the
with
retardation
Sandworms, we're
really
gonna have
shines.
something to talk about.
I can't
Do you
wait
plan?
to read the official canon ending to Frank Herbert's Dune in his vision based on his outline.
Yeah, it's it's one of the worst things I've ever read in my life.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And Hunters of Dune
Do
is
you
already on
remember?
my list of
Yeah.
like worst books that I have read. And it's just gonna get worse. That is
Oh yes, I
I
think
mean,
so at least. I hope you like it more than I do. I doubt it, but you know.
yeah, so I'm so no, that last chapter. Because it's not just the robot reveal, they talk so cliche. It is so badly written as well. Boy,
Yeah,
it made me so
it
mad.
is. The ending is, I think it's a if Brian was trying to insult his father, I don't think he could have done it as well as he did.
Oh yeah. I mean, is it fair to say that Brian Herbert is a giant fraud who's just using the work of his father to make money and get fame?
Yeah.
Can we really say that to,
Yes.
a man who lost his father? Yes,
With,
we can. We
with
absolutely
a
can.
with the sequels, yes. I don't know about the prequels. Maybe the prequels are better. I doubt it.
Dude,
I doubt it.
Jeremy gave up on them.
Yeah, yeah.
And he has
I doubt
somewhat of
it.
a tolerance, like a high tolerance for like bullshit, and likes Kevin Anderson to some degree.
Okay, okay.
And even he gave up.
Again, it's one of those things. I don't know how much of the book is Kevin and how much of it is Brian.
I mean, there are definitely a lot of parts in Hunters of Dune where you can tell, oh my god,
Kevin.
this is Kevin J. Anderson
Yeah,
writing.
yeah. The Kevinisms are there.
Yeah. It is hard to put in words what the Kevinisms are, but once you've read enough Kevin J. You will notice his shallow writing and certain things he does and how he writes characters.
I mean,
Like
I
that
think,
scientist character, for example, and his whole
yeah,
plotline. We
disposable
didn't even
plotline.
mention the fucking farting competition.
I tried to. You kind of moved away from it at some point.
Because there's so much to mention there. Okay, but yeah, the farting competition. Let's talk about it.
This is gonna be one of the last things because I will have to go soon.
Okay, this
Uh,
is the most important thing.
it is. It is. So at some point we have toddler Baron Harkonnen, and he's having like a disgusting fart competition with a scientist,
Yeah,
right?
because no, not a
Which they
scientist. I
call
think it's the shapeshifter. It's Chrome. I think it's not.
no,
I
no, no,
just,
no.
I just,
I think Crone is disgusted by it.
yeah. But a scientist is also disgusted. I think it may have been like a third character. It doesn't matter. The point is, he has
Maybe,
some
maybe.
other babysitter that is playing along because baby Count Harkonnen is already evil. He's murdering animals. He tries to kill Italian Paul clone. Uh, in
Hmm.
the womb essentially, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so, and another point, because he's so evil, his babysitter, he's doing a farting competition with the Harkonnen clone because
Yes,
farting is also evil, and this is in Frank's vision. Obviously, this is Frank's vision for Dune.
yes.
That
Absolutely.
that was the most Kevin. I don't even believe Brian Herbert writes any of this shit. To be honest, I'm sure it's all Kevin.
Yes.
I was kind of disappointed because you sold it to me as them actually like shitting everywhere.
Yeah, I was
Like I
being
was expecting actual like fecal stuff
yeah,
going
yeah,
on there with like on the walls and stuff, but no, it was a disgusting, stinky farting
yeah.
competition.
So I don't remember exactly how that scene went. Either I got so angry that I didn't quite understand what I was reading, or I was
Yeah,
being hyperbolic. I'm not sure.
possible.
Sorry for that.
Yeah, it's
Maybe,
fine, but it's still that's in here. That's in the
but
conclusion to the Dune saga.
I was
It
actually
reminded me.
probably serious, and I didn't quite understand what I was reading because I
Yeah,
do remember thinking, or I said it so many times as a joke that I come became reality in my head. Because I do remember at some point thinking that there was a literal shit flinging competition in the book.
it wouldn't have surprised me after that scene. That was shocking. It reminds me of the fart wedding from the Disney Star Wars books.
Yeah,
Like, how can you approve this? Frank's vision, absolutely Frank's vision for Dune. That it can be on this whole book can be summed up with the farting competition. And
it can.
I
It really
can't wait
can.
to see what is in Sandworms of Dune.
No more farting competitions.
Sad. Oh, Douglas is back.
Yeah, I've been listening the whole time to the farting competition.
Nice. You would like to add something here?
No, I just I'm sure it's very faithful to the original vision.
Yeah. I mean, don't you remember all like the farting competitions at and the shit flinging in God Emperor?
Well, I will when I read it, but yes.
Yeah. And this is something I want to go out on because I just found this and I found it so funny.
It's interesting. I'm trying to find information about this in the Reddit, in the subreddit. I can't find anything. I can't believe
What
that
are
no
you
one.
what are you looking for? Farting competition?
Yes, this must
You
be.
should create that as a post. Why are you guys not talking about the fart competition in Hunters of Dune?
Yeah, because I feel kind of insane now. Like I was reading in a fever dream. I don't know, but
Yeah, I can confirm it is
you
in
can
there.
confirm there. It's at least a farting, not the shit flinging. I was wrong
Not the
about
shit
that.
flinging from what I gathered, but it is a farting competition.
No, it wasn't. I was wrong, clearly.
Okay, so to go out on this, I found funny. Just in case any of you are thinking of reading Kevin's prequels, here's some of the fun stuff that's also in there. In the Butlerian Jihad, Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert endow their ancient predecessors, the Sorcerers of Rosek. So those are the predecessors of the Bene Gesserit, the Sorcerers of Rosek, with telepathic and telekinetic abilities. So basically, they are Jedi.
Yes.
Yeah, so we straight up have the Force now in Dune.
Yeah, I
Wait,
mean,
later
Kevin
in
had to bring that in.
and then in House Harkonnen, they give the fully formed Bene Gesserit the ability to hide in shadows, close to invisibility.
Yeah, that one too, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, so full on superpowered. Oh, okay, just quick, because this is kind of a spoiler for the good Frank Herbert books, but there's the character Miles Tech, who has a very cool scene in Heretics of Dune and stuff. He has very special abilities. That he's very fast, so to speak. This is as awfully written in this book, Hunters of Dune, as you would imagine it is, because it's written by Kevin J. Anderson. And he essentially turns into like the Flash or like Quicksilver from the X-Men movies.
Yes. Well, he
That's
does that in another
in
book as
Heretic.
well.
In the Frank, yeah, that is
Yeah.
kind of a power, but the way it's written in Frank's books, it's fucking epic. What is
Yes.
happening? Like, it's awesome. And then you read it in this one, and it feels like, yeah, like the Flash or Quicksilver from X-Men. It's terrible. It is fucking abysmal. It really annoyed me because I really like Miles Tech as a character.
Yeah, I liked him too.
Oh yeah, we should also mention this book. The storyline ends with um, Duncan Idaho getting over his girlfriend by fucking that other woman. Oh, essentially they rape each other to get so that Duncan gets over his ex.
Yeah.
That is a real thing that happens. That is part of Frank's vision, weird sex stuff. That is
That's
fine.
the
That is
only
okay.
that's one of the only things that I think that was one thing in those floppy disks.
Yeah, Frank, he didn't even write a plot outline. He wrote that sex scene in, and that was
Yeah.
it. And he's like, I'm gonna construct a plot around this later. But yeah,
Anyway,
Hunters of Dune. My first not my first contact with Dune, Kevin, but my first full novel of his here.
your first
Um,
real contact with it.
yeah, in some ways, the first real Dune novel, because as we learned today on the Dune wiki, um,
Yes,
Kevin and Brian's books pretend they are on a higher level than the originals.
correct.
which
Wow.
are just fan fiction, in-universe fan fiction.
Yeah. You heard it here first, guys. The original Dune saga, it's fan fiction. This man, Kingpin over here, he's the creator of Dune. Official Dune writer. There's so much
Yeah,
shit here.
amazing.
Yeah, and obviously he really started with writing 2 prequel trilogies and stuff, but whatever. The sequels are the most important here.
Yes.
And they are still writing and will probably continue to do so until they die, which I think they threatened that this is the case.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go.
All right, I'm
Unfortunately.
going to end the stream anyway, so thank you for coming on
Yeah.
here and suffering with us.
Yes.
Yeah, I learned a
Okay.
lot today.
Nice. Yeah, so I guess we see you next time, dear watchers, when we do Sandworms, which may be at the end of next year, because I have no motivation. When I feel like I want to get tortured again, when I feel like I want to get raped, I'm gonna read a Kevin J. Anderson novel.
Yeah. That's the right mindset.
All right. Well, thank you, dear viewers. This is it. Goodbye.